So last week we have discussed about the on-premises Active Directory and domain join and AD. So today onwards we are going inside the Azure, Azure classes. So now onwards we will understand the theoretical concept. We will do the practicals. Okay. So before jump into the courses, first understand what is the role of Azure admin. Basically, Azure administrator is responsible for implementing, monitoring and maintaining Microsoft Azure solution, including major services related to compute, storage, networks and security. Earning this certification will validate you are able to manage Azure identities and governance, implement and manage storage. Azure Administrator manage cloud services that span storage, security, networking, compute cloud capabilities. The Microsoft Azure Administrator associated certification role based and validate professional ability to implement, monitor and domain Microsoft Azure solution. Basically, Azure Administrator is a level 2 support or level 1 support of Azure cloud identities, like on-premises to Azure VM migration, like identity access management, Azure AD Connect, monitoring and governance. These are the core part of Azure admin. Okay.
Legacy to cloud.
Exactly. That means you have to manage both your on-premises server as well as cloud servers. Okay. Because all the companies nowadays still not fully migrated in cloud, because fully migration is not possible. Got my point? So 50% their instances still running on all premises and 50% they have migrated on cloud. So that their
finance companies, finance banking are not reluctant to migrate all devices in cloud.
Exactly. That is why still now on-premises domain controllers are there, right? Domain controllers still there in on-premises because it is not at all possible to switch fully your AD infrastructure on cloud. Let's say I'm giving a small example. The people's visiting their office, they're swiping their iCards. Okay, that means somewhere organization still the user was linked with their user ID. Got my point? When the device is authenticated from Active Directory that yes, this is the users, then only they'll give them door access, right? But here, if your on-premises ID will be switched to Azure, then it will be a big problem. Okay, so this solution still not yet come, and that is why we are still using the on-premises. This is our total Azure cloud certification path. The fundamental level certifications is Azure Fundamental, which is called Azure 900. If you want to make your career on data analysis or Azure data lakes, then the certification program name is DP 900. If you want to go with AI, artificial intelligence, then it's called Azure AI Fundamentals. Then Microsoft Compliance, Identity, Fundamental, Azure, all those stuff says it's called under SC 900. Associate level certification, it's called Azure Administrator Associate, which is called AZ 104. If you go inside the developer aspect, then you have to go Azure 204. If you want to create your, want to make your profiles on database, then the database certification is Azure Database Administrator is DP 300. Okay. If you want to make your carry on security level, then it's called AZ 500. Azure Data Engineer Associate, if you want to create your profile and data engineer, then DP 203. Azure AI Engineer Associate AI 102. Azure Stack Hub Operator Associate, it's AZ 600. And expert level of certification is Azure Solution Architect Expert, which is AZ 303. DevOps Engineer Expert, AZ 400. Special certification, it's not even found in many of the organization will not conduct in India. That is Azure IoT Developer Specialty, AZ 220, and Azure for SAP Workloads Specialty, which is AZ 120. These are total of Azure level certifications. Okay, because on-premises technologies are migrated to Azure cloud, so definitely their scope of area, their part, their development, their maintenance, all together they have a different certificate scope. That means that you will go for all certification. No, I'm not like that. But I just let you know about the certification path for different technologies in Azure platforms. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
For
Yeah.
Windows Server admins and all this AZ 104 or AZ
Exactly. The
303.
those who are from Windows servers, Active Directory, backup, networks, for them only Azure fundamentals, and then Azure Administrator Associate. Even those who are from the Windows Server background or network background, Azure fundamental is actually waste of time for them. Okay. So basically, those are fresher guy. So Azure fundamental is basically for them. Okay.
Right.
Perfect. Next is our course content. What we will learn here in this course content. In this course content, the first one is manage Azure identity governance, manage Azure AD object, manage role-based access control RBAC, manage subscriptions and governance. Second is configures and manage virtual networking, implement and manage virtual networking, configure name resolutions, secure access to virtual networks, configure load balancing, monitor and troubleshooting virtual networks, integrated on-premises network with Azure virtual networks. Next is implement and manage storage profiles. So in this here, you will learn about the manage storage account, manage data in Azure storage, configure Azure files and Azure Blob storage, deploy and manage Azure compute resources, configure VMs on high availability, scalability, automation, deployment and configures of VMs, create and configure VMs, create and configure containers, create and configure web apps. Okay. Next is monitor and backup and Azure resources. Monitor resources by using Azure Monitor, set up alerts and actions, application insight, implement backup and recovery, recovery service vault, Azure site recovery. This is your all total course content for Azure Administrator. Okay.
For VM's restoration, vm.dk, that file is important. vmdk.
No. In Azure VMDK there is no concept of VMDK. In Azure it's called VHD.
Okay.
VMware actually no. First VMware comes with server virtualization platforms. Okay. So VMware it's their legacy, and even VMware also have their own cloud. You know that. Okay. VMware also have their own cloud, and their disk extension is still done VMDK. In Azure, basically Azure APIs are running on still in Hyper-V structure. Got it?
Okay.
So still Azure data centers are Azure APIs running on Hyper-V structure. That is why Microsoft still their operating system they are developing, because always cannot be stopped. Operating system development cannot be stopped because their underlying hardware is running on this Hyper-V environment. Got my point? Underlying hardware are running still on Hyper-V environment. That is why the disk extension is called VHD. In Hyper-V, that hard disk called VHD. Okay. Clear? Perfect. We will first go inside this one. I mean deploy, manage Azure computers. From there we will complete all those steps.
Okay.
Next is exam passing criteria. The exam code is AZ104. Total duration of the exam is 120 minutes. That means 2 hours. Total number of questions is 60 and passing score is 700. Okay. So this is your AZ104 passing criteria.
Okay.
Because in this here, what are the things we in the main they are focusing on? The first focusing on AZ104 prerequisite for Azure Administrator, AZ104 manage identities and governance in Azure, implementing and manage storage in Azure, and monitor and backup Azure resources, configure and manage virtual networks for Azure, deploy, manage Azure compute resources. So all the exams are conducted from this particular syllabus. Next is Wettage. That means your manage Azure Active Directory and Azure AD object. The objectives are create users and group. Now that means question will come from here actually. What my point? create users and group, manage users and group properties, manage device settings, perform bulk user updates, manage manage guest accounts, configure Azure AD join, configure self-service password reset, SSPR. This is very important. Got my point? SSPR, it means like you are working in IBM, right? So nowadays you are all the workers or engineers are working from their home. Now meanwhile, if their AD account is locked, how they manage? Because they are not in company land, right?
Right.
So through this self-signed password reset, you have to register yourself with your phone numbers and office mail ID, so that you have options to reset, to change your password, everything from this particular.
And the OTP will go to your mobile.
Exactly. This is called self-signed password reset. Okay. Next is manage role-based access control. What do you mean by the role-based access control? Let's say IBM having their own cloud. Now, IBM want to sell their cloud products to some company resources. How they giving them access to test their products? That is why they have given the cloud account, and that account they have mentioned that you guys can have a read access, you guys can have a write access, you guys only can deploy Azure virtual machine, you guys only can deploy application performance, you only the monitoring the resources. This is called role-based access control on each account you create. It's called RBAC. So question Wettage will become 15 to 20% from there.
Okay.
Next is manage subscriptions and governance. In this governance, configure Azure policies, configure resource locks, apply and manage tags on resources, manage resources groups, manage subscriptions, manage cost accountability, and configure management groups. These all together will have 15 to 20% of weightage. Next is secure storage. Because why I'm telling you all those stuffs is because you have an end-to-end visibilities on Azure administrations. What are the codes? What related to the subject? What are the subjects? How much the question will come? What are the time? Total full informative class. Okay. Now it's secure storage. In this secure storage, the weightage is 15 to 20%. Configure network access to storage accounts, create and configure storage accounts, generate shared access signature, SAS token based, manage access keys, configure Azure AD authentication for storage account, configure access to Azure files. Clear?
Clear.
That is on 15 to 20%. Next is manage storage. In this managed storage, export from Azure job, import into Azure job, install and use Azure Storage Explorer, copy data by using AZ copy, implemented Azure Storage Replication, configure Blob object replication. These are come from managed storage level, and weightage is 15 to 20%. Next is configure Azure files and Azure Blob storage. Here you will understand create an Azure file share, create and configure Azure file sync service, configure Azure Blob storage, configure storage tiers for Azure Blob storage, configure Blob lifecycle management. From there also question will come 15 to 20%. Next is automate deployment of virtual machines like VMs by using Azure Resource Manager templates. Modify an Azure Resource Manager templates, config and virtual hard disk template, deploy VM templates, save a deployment as an Azure Resource Manager templates, deploy virtual machine as a extensions. Weightage is 20 to 25%. Configure VMs. In configure VM, configure Azure disk encryptions, move VMs from one resource group to another resource group. Okay, manage VM size, add a data disk, configure networking, redeploys of VM, configure high availability, deploy and configure scale sets. Okay,
Okay.
Next is create and configure containers. In these containers, Azure Kubernetes service. Yeah, 20 to 25% configure sizing and scaling of Azure container instances. Configure container groups of Azure container instances. Configure storage for Azure Kubernetes services (AKS). Configure scaling for AKS. Configure networking connection of AKS. Upgrade an AKS cluster. That is 20.
What is that Kubernetes service?
Kubernetes is a kind of containers. Like
Achha.
Docker.
This is only for Azure product or other cloud
No.
services?
Kubernetes is a totally different product.
Oh,
But
okay.
services can be integrated in Azure.
Mm.
Like Docker. Docker even available in Windows as well. In Windows Server, Docker can be available. And Docker can be integrated in Azure. Because basically Docker is also a product which can be integrated in cloud and on-premises server as well. Okay. So it's basically, I'm telling you that the course contain now your exam contains a huge information. So you have to know about all this information.
Right.
And then create and configure Azure App Services. What is App Services? App Services is serverless computing. That means itself a container, but it's not a compute container. It's only specific for the application holding. This is a specific technologies designed by Microsoft. It's called serverless computing. Let's say what? If you want to host one of the applications, then where you have to go? You have to create the servers and then you have to hosting, right? Now listen, if you are hosting the application on a server, so servers having operating system, you have to patch time to time, right? You have to have maintain the antiviruses. You have to give them their identities. But in app services, basically it's not the computer. It's kind of application container where you are hosting your packages. Either you are hosting your web packages, .NET, GitHub, all those stuffs. Clear? It's called serverless computing. Clear? Hello?
Hello, I was on mute. Hello. Yeah.
So here, in this here you can learn create an app service plan, configure scaling, setting up app service plan, create an app service, secure an app service, configure custom domain name, configure backup an app service, configure networking settings, configure deployment settings. Next is implement and manage virtual networkings. In this virtual network, weightage is 25 to 30%. Create and configure virtual networks including peering, configure private and public IP address, configure user-defined network routes, implemented subnets, configure endpoint subnets, configure private endpoints, configure Azure DNS including custom DNS settings and private or public DNS zones. Okay.
Azure best services. What is that question?
Sorry.
Base station service. Implement Azure.
Base station means?
Implement Azure firewall, then implement Azure base BAS-TIOA.
Where you are seeing this?
Next one.
Create rules.
Firewall. After next to firewall.
Okay. Implement Azure Bason service. Bason
Bason
service.
service. Okay.
Bason is another implementation things which is
Okay.
it's basically on Azure architect part. Okay.
Okay.
It's a totally different things. Bason code word. It's
Bason. Okay.
Next is configure load balancing, Azure application gateway, configure internal or public load balancer, troubleshoot of load balancing. And last and final is monitoring and troubleshooting. Monitor on-premises connectivity, configure and use of network performance monitoring, use of Azure Network Watcher, troubleshoot external networking, troubleshoot virtual network connectivity. Clear? Okay. So final is integrated on-premises network with Azure Virtual Networks. Create, configure Azure VPN gateway. Create and configure Azure Express route. Configure Azure Virtual WAN. Monitor resource by using Azure Monitor. Configure and interrupt metrics. Configure Azure monitoring logs. Query and analyze logs. Set up alerts and action. Configure implementation insight. Next is implement backup and recovery, create recovery service vault, create and configure backup policy, performance backup, restore operations by using Azure backup, perform site-to-site recovery by Azure site recovery, and configure review backup reports.
Any other backup tool can be integrated with Azure, right?
Yeah,
Like net backup or net backup or any Vault. Okay.
Because this is the inbuilt features of Azure. Got my point?
Azure.
You can host the application on a server, which is called Azure application container or Azure computer, but you cannot integrate it with Azure whole together. Because some company, what they're doing their backup solutions, they're creating on their backup master server on cloud. From this cloud, they will create their backups. Okay. But not the third party. Clear?
Suppose in legacy I have Tivoli or I have
TSM, right?
I have TSM or I
Then
have.
you have to check. Then you have to check their configuration part. Is there anything legacy contract with them, AWS or Azure? How they are using their product? Because as far as I know, Tivoli and Symantec, all they have built their features on premises. So cloud part it not yet done. I'm not sure. I have to check with their configuration part how they will do. Because see, generally what you can do, you can configure your master servers on specific cloud servers. From there you can put your on-premises backup. But how you manage and enter Azure infrastructure through Symantec, I have a question. That
The primary catalog should be that on-prem one.
Exactly. For then only we have to check with their SMEs and their technical expert how you manage. Let's say in my whole environment it's integrated with Azure. Now I have purchased somewhere Tivoli license. Then how I can integrate the license with Azure? That is their integration with Azure part or AWS part. They have to check with them. Okay.
Right. Good.
Yeah. Now, how we can create Azure free subscriptions? So first of all, I'm telling you, in order to perform this, we have to create the Azure account. In Azure account, first you have to go azure.microsoft.com/free. Once you run this URL, you have options. Click Start and Free button. Okay. And there you have to, before you have to jump into it, you must have a Microsoft account, either Outlook account or MSN account. MSN account so old, it's so old. Now you have to create an Outlook account. Okay?
Yes, Outlook.
Or a Hotmail account, whatever it is. Next here you have to put your credit card informations. After your successfully authorization, you will be redirected to identity verification by card from those who also do not like to give credit card initials. Okay. I have a little tips for you. Use service Revolt to create the international bank account for free and then generate a virtual credit card. It's completely free. Okay. So if you do not have the credit card, then you can use this method. Or else, if you have any credit cards, either in domestic or international, you can use it. But remember, without credit card, debit card not created. Debit card not work here. But actually, in Microsoft, in free subscription, they are giving only 1 month free subscription for entire resource utilization. The account still active till 1 year, but you cannot create the resources after 1 month. Okay.
After 1 month we need to.
Exactly. But whereas AWS and Google Cloud will give you 1 year for continue use this with the same credit card.
Okay.
Now after 1 month, then you will, once you are trying to use this, just a minute. Okay. They have options. Once you have created the log into the portal, they have options upgrade. That means your 1 month subscription is over. And in the 1 month after, click on upgrade. You have to go and select your subscriptions, either pay as you go or Azure for students. Because if you crack Microsoft certified trainer certification, then you have a whole lifetime, you have a Azure free account. Okay. If you crack Microsoft certified trainer associate, okay, MCT, Microsoft trainer, if you pass the MCT certification, then Azure subscription is totally free for you. Okay. Or else you have to go pay as you go. Pay as you go is very flexible in terms of payment, because if I have a continuous cloud batch in a whole month, that means 30 days cloud batch, max to max I find out that the bills come 400, 450, 400 like that. Even if you are using week in a weekday, or in a 2 days in a week, or 3 days in a week, max to max you can keep 200 rupees, 300 rupees like that.
Okay.
Clear?
Clear.
Perfect. Next is, we understand the Azure subscription can be obtained from Microsoft in variety of ways. What are the subscription? I'm not telling you the subscription plan, I'm telling you the variety of subscription. First one is enterprise agreement. Enterprise customers can make a bulk purchase of subscription with an upfront monetary commitment and consume services throughout the years. Like let's say wherever which projects you work. These projects, if they have a cloud, definitely the organizations will go with enterprise agreement. In this enterprise agreement, what is actually the beneficial? The beneficial is you are taking this for bulk of resources. So so in pay as you go options, when I will say you in the service portal, you will see when you are creating the virtual machine, in this here you have options. You can see the virtual machine you are creating, the charges will be 9 rupees per hour, 5 rupees, 9.7 rupees per hour, 8 rupees per hour. That means per hourly basis they will charges their application. But in enterprise level, it will be 1 rupees per hour or 1.5 rupees per hour. The price is massively changed in enterprise. But in enterprise, overall billing is huge, but it is in general and quite sustainable for the enterprise team, like IBM, Accenture, Wipro, TCS, all. Clear?
Got it.
Next is resellers. See, resellers basically those who are kind of temporarily CSP, they can use these options. Provide a simple, flexible way for medium to large business to purchase Azure cloud services. Third one is the partners. They can design and implement your Azure cloud solutions for you. You hire one partners, through partner subscriptions you can use it. And last one is personal free account. This type of account is used for most of individual. Microsoft provides free credits for unlimited time so that companies and individuals can try out their services.
Right.
If your organizations will supposed to be go for Azure solutions, so through one create one free account and do your all full the testings all over across the month, and then you satisfied and you find out all the solutions can works. Now we can go with enterprise subscriptions. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Next is subscription types. This is very important. You have to understand the subscription type. What are the subscriptions? Basically, there we follow 4 types of subscriptions. 4 types of subscriptions we are following. The first is free subscription. As you know, a free subscription can be created with an email account and a credit card that include $200 credit for the first 30 days and free limited access for 12 months when the converted to pay as you go subscriptions. So
Pay as you go.
So that means if you create your account in free account, so they will giving you in Indian currency 13,000. Okay. In Indian currency 13,000 credit balance in your account. Through this you can use to create your virtual machines. Hold on. Hello. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Tell me. Which servers? When we will shut down the servers? I mean, did you have a ticket? Yes. Okay, just send mail and create a tickets. We will shut down the servers. Okay. Okay, once you have done this, let me know. Call me. I will do that. I'll do that. Okay. So, okay. So 13,000 amount they will credit in your account, Microsoft account, so that the period of time you can practice. You can subscribe the resources. You can practice it. Okay.
Okay.
Just for 1 month. Remember, after 1 month, you cannot procure. Account will be active, but you cannot create any resources.
Okay.
Next is pay as you go. So basically, pay as you go generate a monthly charges depending on the amount of cloud resources you used. As I told, I have a pay as you go subscription. Next is enterprise. A single enterprise agreement is made for a bulk purchase of subscription with discount for a new license and software assurance. Targeted that enterprise scales and organization. Student. And first on the student, that means if you have that MCT certification, then you can access this. This subscription include $100 for 12 months. The subscription can be activated without a credit card. However, student verification is required.
And Sid, is there any 3 years or 5 years for this or lifetime this Azure certifications?
Basically, they claim that after 2 years the subscription is expire, but I believe even I have Azure 103, not even 104. Before 104, I have done my Azure certification, that is Azure 103.
3.
That is not a C. Basically, certification matter in terms of it can glamour your CV, right?
Right.
Basically, let me show my CV. It will be help you to understand actually. Yes, this is my CV, and I have done this all the certifications: CCNA, Windows servers, my MCAC, VMware, and Azure 103 associates. Now, what matters? Certification is expired or not? Because you have cleared the exams, you have done the exam.
Right.
Knowledge is the matter. Certificate is only for you.
Right. Correct.
That's it. Did ever your organization ask for the certification? No. It is just for attract the foreign clients that I have a resources with Azure.
I have a full strength with this certificate. Right.
That is the main purpose. That is why certification matters. So certification expire or something. You have achieved this. You have a certificate. That's it. Clear?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Next is we are jumping into a cloud component. What is the cloud component? So basically, this is on premises. Let's say in on premises you have an application, you have a data, you have a runtime, middleware, OS, virtualization, server, all are in the on premises. Now, whenever it is turns into the IaaS, it's come here. These are the application part, and these are the infrastructure part.
Right.
Whenever you are calculating on PaaS, the PaaS is on runtime, middleware, OS, virtualization, server, storage, networking. These two are on PaaS. And whenever it is SaaS, in SaaS, all those are gone. There is no services they need from SaaS. SaaS is a totally application container and their products. You are no need to worry about your server, on-premise server, resources, nothing.
Okay. Clear.
This is actually IaaS, PaaS and SaaS. IaaS is infrastructure as a service, PaaS is platform as a service, and SaaS is software as a service, like Microsoft Teams, like Jira.
Exactly.
Next is demand on cloud. Where is the demand? With the increased adoptions of cloud environment, more and more businesses are moving away from on-premises IT solutions and have come to rely on IT infrastructure, platforms, and software offered as a service. In IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS stand for infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, each described as a way of how you can use the cloud for your organization. The service model don't stands in direct opposition to each others but covers a degree of IT management, thus offering the alternative way to self-manage on-premises IT solutions. While traditional solution required you to manage your own IT infrastructure, an in-house software IaaS provide pay-as-you-go approach for storage, networking, and virtualizations. In addition, PaaS include even more services like hardware and software development. Tool available via web, and with a SaaS, you will get the highest degree of vendor management by renting full software solutions. Clear?
Like infrastructure, I have a data center. I have I have house storage, backup server.
Let's say you are still whenever we are working in Accenture Renault Nissan project,
Legacy.
in this they have a legacy data center. Many of these countries they have a legacy data center, and that legacy data center what they do.
Chennai and Rodram and all.
Exactly. That legacy data center they have all the physical hardware of servers, physical storage boxes, physical hardware servers, their cooling partner, the cooling part. Even those who are mentoring the data center, they have hired engineers, they have hired managers. All together is very expensive, right?
Hands and eye. We say hands and eye.
Exactly. Now just imagine there is no such data center cost. There is no such data center cost. Neither you are doing any payment to a data center engineer, data center manager. Neither you have time to time OS upgrade, patch management, firmware upgrade. All cost is gone.
Yeah.
Now you have to use them hourly basis. Let's say your organization is currently operating 200 servers all across the forest or across the domain. Now you utilize some server is going to be decommissioned next couple of months. So as a provision, you just bring off them or bring shutdown state. So in that period, you will neither do anything single penny to their cloud service provider. This is the benefit, na?
Right.
Even I'm telling you, let's say one of the application hosted in cloud and that servers is very highly demanding in terms of SLA. Now you can set the scaling structure and automate the process. You can set the scaling structure and automate the process. Let's say whenever in peak hours server having more load, the server will scale up their infrastructure. Can you imagine?
Right.
Automatic
Yes.
scaling. And you have the notifications by SMS. That's
Suppose more transactions or more utilization.
Exactly. Like you face even not of, like Amazon and Flipkart, great Indian festivals. Like Amazon.
Yes.
How when this kind of sales happen, the people most of the countries they are jump into this window shopping.
Right.
In this window shoppings, they are at least they are doing some certain purchase or not, but they are later on visiting the sites. Even after visiting, even after visiting, they are not even close their browsers. Still the connection is active. Then how the Flipkarts and Amazon manage the resources? Through this features called auto scaling. Whenever there is user load, the scale will automatically up. Whenever the less user load, scale will automatically down. But each operations triggers you have a mail as well as SMS notifications. Now tell me, why people will go with still legacy data centers? There is no meaning of that, right?
Cost optimization, that is the target of cloud infra.
Exactly, cost optimization. But still, I'm telling you, not even 100% possible to migrate on cloud. No. Still, organization have a DR on premises and 50% on their cloud.
Yes.
Now we will discuss about this very legitimate, resource in active in Azure, which is called resource group. So basically we'll understand what is resource group. Okay, basically in cloud you are creating one VM, right? So in this particular VM, what are the things are there? Let's say you have first is disk, second is RAM, CPU, you know, container. All this can be, even the server part can be meant, can be, created on a large container. Even you are creating on network resources, they are also from the saved from this particular folder. So this is a resource group. Resource group basically is the container to hold and mount all the resources like your computer, storage, anything, disk part, whatever the resources are around. This is just like a folder to keep all the resources. And why the folder? What is the benefit? Benefit is that you later on you can create a lock. You can lock the resources and no one can delete the resources. Even you can apply certain policy that no one can create virtual machine from UK, no one can create virtual machine from US. Okay, and what is the benefit? Benefit is that whenever your practical done, you just delete that resource group, all will be deleted.
Okay.
If you forget to create the resource, that ready to penalties. It's a huge penalties. One of my friend was created 4 virtual machine doing certain testings, and suddenly office call come and he was busy starting office call. After that might be 10-15 days he was not logged in Azure portal. Okay, suddenly he received on credit card bills that 30,000 spending from the credit card, and he phoned to credit card company that saying that, sir, I am getting that your subscription, do you have an Azure or Microsoft? From there we are getting this bill. Later on we find out that 4 VMs are continuously running last 15 days. So very careful while you doing practice. Even your first month credit card, it's forget about it. If you create the VMs or not, no matter, they will not even deduct a single one. Yes, 2 rupees. 2 rupees will deduct it from your credit card just for the verification, and again they will give the 2 rupees back. Okay, while you creating the account. But 1 month, not a single penny will be deducted from your account of how much you have practiced. After 1 month, you will not be able to create any resources until you upgrade your plan, like cable TV operators. Okay, but whenever you jump into pay-as-you-go models, then you have to remember that post you complete these practicals, you have to delete your resource groups. Clear?
Yeah. Student option is good, na? Student one.
Student options, it's good, but our students not entertain. If you are doing your schooling from US, then definitely you have a student account. Okay, because Microsoft given the subsidy of the US school boy, those who want to learn the Azure from the schooling account. That is why it's called school account. But not for Indian ICS and CBSE board. Now how we can create the resource group? This is the snaps I'm telling you, then I will show you in practicals in Azure. Let's say in this portal.microsoft Azure, then here you can create add, and then the resource groups will be created. In this resource group there is the option subscriptions, resource groups, location. Because any resources you can create, you have to choose the location. Location is the matter, because every region, Microsoft, last as far as you know, total all over world, they have 54 data centers. 54 they have data center. Now day by day are increasing. Okay. And finally you can, after creating the resource group, it's look like this, and then when you delete the resource group, it look like this. But I'm telling you, while you delete the resource group, do not close the browsers. Okay? Perfect.
First I need to unmount, means sign out.
Exactly. Okay. So let's go to the Azure portal. Introduce that Azure portal first.
Okay.
So for that only, you have to go portal.azure.com. Okay. I have a Azure account. Hold on.
I have an idea. Suppose can I create multiple Outlook.com and practice for say three ID 3 months on free?
No, brother. In that case, you must have the different credit card as well. See,
Okay.
I'm telling you, there is a way. There is a way you can do. See, if you want to practice through only based on free credit cards, then every month you can create order on credit card because bank is ready to give the credit card. After subscription over, you tell them I am not longer use this credit card. Please off. They will off. Yeah, many people doing this. Many people doing this. Okay, because until and unless you purchase it, the 1 years they will not deduct any charges. After 1 year they will deduct the service charges. So after using 1 month or 2 months you can stop this, because I also couple of things credit card I have done it, because I have a Standard Chartered credit card, I have a HDFC credit card, all I have used and stop this. But make sure your card is permanently stopped or not. Okay. Yeah. So let's log in. Okay, so password was correct. Yeah, just a minute, hold on. Reset.
Give me 2 minutes. I'm coming from washroom.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, just a minute. All are taking hold. Oh my god. Just a minute. Azure portal. It's look like this. Clear? Hello?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
This is the Azure portal, portal.azure.com. Okay? One information I'm telling you, earlier Azure was using Azure Classic. Okay? Nowadays it's called ARM. That means Azure Resource Manager. Okay?
Yes, Azure Resource Manager.
ARM. It's called nowadays Azure migrated to ARM. That means Azure Resource Manager. Earlier it was in 2012 it was Azure Classic Manager. Nowadays it's Azure Resource Manager. So these are the services here. You can get the more services over there. What are the things? You can create AI, machine learning, analytics, database, container, mobile, web, anything you can take this up. All the services are included. DevOps, migrate, monitor, Intune, management, governance, all the services are there. Hell lot of things you can do. Azure Active Directory, virtual machines, all together. Okay. But this is my home. So what I'm going to show you, I am first first of all thing I'm telling you the first I'm going to create one resources. For this only you can go to resources, but I am going to create resource groups. So what is the meaning of resources and resource group? Resources means compute, network, storage. These are the resources. But remember, while you're going to create the resources, they need a resource group. So better first create the resource groups. First go to there, click on create. Either if you have any resources list, you can see there. If you do not have any resources group already there is no sense. Click on create. Okay.
And resource group means I will create a group like computer, network, storage.
Like generally resource group is the container. You got my point? Basically resource group is the container. As I told now, that just a minute.
Okay.
See, resource group is a container that holds related resources for an Azure solutions. The resource group can include all the resources for the solutions, or only those resources that you want to manage as a group. You decide how you want to allocate resources to resource group based on what makes the most sense for your organization generally. Add resources that share the same life cycle to the same resource group, so you can easily deploy, update and delete them as a group. Okay. The resource group stares a metadata about the resources. Therefore, when you specify the allocation for the resource group, you are specifying where that metadata is stored. For compliance resource, you may need to ensure that your data is stored in a particular
region. Okay. Clear. No.
So now here, before we create the resource group, we have to give them, see, if you do not know the information about this, click on this I options. You will have to. All resources in the subscription are built together. What do you mean by the subscription? Here is the definition. Okay. My subscription name is Azure Subscription 1. This is my subscription name. Okay. Azure Subscription 1. Because when I have created my subscription, I given the name that is Azure Subscription 1. You can change it as per your company name. IBM's specific project subscriptions. Clear? Now resource groups. The best definition we'll get, a resource group is a collection of resources that share the same life cycle, permission and policy.
Correct.
I'm going to create one resource group, that is RG something, whatever in your mind you can create. Okay. Click on next. Here this is called the tagging. Tagging means why it is in general it is not required, but for billing purpose, if you are working on accounts, because many people are working for a project specific cloud accounts. So they have instructions. While you create the resources, you have to give them the purpose and give them the time limits, how long the resource is required. So that is why it's very easy to calculate the billing part. Got my point?
a last witness, I have learned in IBM Cloud the tagging the upload with IBM Cloud,
Yeah,
the
tagging.
CMDB tagging.
Same thing here. Tagging.
Same thing.
Clear?
CIs, configuration items.
Exactly. Okay. Next is click on this. That all validation pass. Go and create. Once you go and create, your resource groups is building. Okay.
RG.
Resource group RGQL has been created. Go to resource group. Now this is your resource group. In this resource groups, you have a many options. If you have so many things, you can export to CSV as well.
Okay.
Here in resource groups, many things you can do, like even I'm telling you there is a log options. Okay, if you want to log, so you can log. If you click an add log option, so no one can delete your resource group. Got it?
Okay.
If you go apply certain policy, so you can apply the policy. What policy?
Compliance policies and all.
Policies, many policies are there. Just in the scope, if you click on there, many scopes you want to do that. Azure after resource optional, choose the resources. Many options are there. Okay, all type of definition, invite policy or compliance state, non-compliances, conflicting, all kind of policy you can apply. This is the resource graphs.
Okay.
And remediations fields also there. Okay, it can give you the clue from any kind of remediation if you need. So that one resource group you have created, that is name is RG code.
RG code.
Okay, perfect. Now I am going to create one virtual machines. Okay, I am going to create one virtual machines. Let's go to the virtual machines. Now once you click on create virtual machines, so first of all they need a resource group. Without resource group you won't be able to create any virtual machines. So first of all, as I told, I created the RG code. So RG code will be here. Cloud is very easy, it's not so high.
GUI based, nice.
Exactly, it's very easy. All together there. You need to understand how the things you can do assemble. Okay. Now you have to do your virtual machine name. Let's say my virtual machine is VM1. Next is why this is East US, because you have created your RG code on East US region. That is why it's
Boston time.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So you can change the resources, not a matter. You can US to Central US, wherever you will go. Availability options. This option I will tell you. There is a 3 different set: availability zone, virtual machine skill set, and right now I am doing this note because next class I will tell you what is available. It's kind of DR solutions. Okay, it's kind of DR solution. I will tell you. Security type standards. Standard, the basic level of security for your virtual machine. Trust launch virtual machine. This feature is recently added by Microsoft. Earlier it was that means they are also protecting virtual machine this kind of security encryption policy.
Attacks, yeah.
Okay, to prevent the attacks. And next is images. Images mean you have to choose your operating systems. You have a hell lot of operating systems there. Windows 2012, 2 data centers, Ubuntu, SUSE Linux, Red Hat Linux, Oracle Linux, Debian, CentOS, all these servers operating systems are there. Even 2022 data centers also there. 2019, 2016, Windows 10,
2016.
all will be there. All. Okay. So I'm creating with 2012. Okay. Azure Spot instance. So what is Azure Spot instance? Azure Spot offer unused Azure capacity at a discounted rate versus pay as you go price. Workloads should be tolerant to infrastructure loss of Azure may recall capacity for pay as you go workload. So this is basically we are not checking this spot instance.
Okay.
Next is you have to put your local administrator name because without this administrator you will not be able to
admin.
So I'll put admin. Okay. admin, it's not, must be include some reserved word, admin 2. Okay, or let's say I want to choose with root admin. Okay, and you have to give the password.
Special character.
Okay. Now in public inbound port, you have to allow them, or else you will not be able to log in the servers. So you have to check allow ports, and here what are the port you need to allow? RDP, HTTP, HTTPS, SSH. All 4 ports. If you not allow here, then you will not be able to take the RDP of the servers. Clear?
Okay.
Perfect. Click on next, which is especially on disk part. So basically Microsoft will give you OS type, you are selecting, and here is the disk part. Okay, so basically if you click on this, you can choose between Azure managed disk type to support your workload or scenario like that. Encryption by default, whatever the encryption, don't touch it. Whatever the encryption it is. If your client telling you to go for some different encryptions, do this, or else leave it blank. By default, they will give you a premium SSD local redundant storage. You can downgrade it standard or standard HDD as per your choice. SSD means solid state drive, which is the best IO rather than HDD. HDD is hard disk. Okay, SSD is solid state drive, which having less IO, high speed, and very optimal disk. So these also have two type, premium SSD and standard SSD. So if you want to reduce your cost, you can use in standard SSD. But standard SSD basically, it's very slow. Best for backup,
latency is there.
Best for backup, non-critical and infrequent access. Best for web servers, because these 3 is having different criteria. You can choose a criteria and use it. So premium SSD best for production and performance sensitive workloads. It's a very costly. Standard SSD best for web servers, lightly used enterprise application and dev test. And last one is the standard HD. It's for the best backup, non-critical and infrequent access. So you can choose accordingly as per your choice. Next part, we will going to create networking. Clear? So basically, this is how I'll give you that classes for networking. That means /24. They are here, all are together. It's CIDR format.
Class-based internet routing.
Exactly. So every machine, they have 2 different IP addresses. One is internal networks, one is public networks. Even I'm telling you, after create the VM, you can take MSTC from your systems. You can take MSTC from your systems. I will show you. So here there is options public IP. So in public IP you have options to create basically dynamic or statics. You can click on OK. The public IP will be created according to your choice. Network security groups, basic and advanced. Basically, a network security groups contain security rules that allows or deny inbound network traffic to or outbound network traffic from the virtual machine. To simplify management of secure rules, it is recommended that you associate network security groups to individual subnets rather than individuals network interface with the subnets whenever it's possible. Clear? Perfect. Click on next management. Management basically it's nothing for this boot diagnostics, enable OS diagnostics like that. You can hold this. Advanced options, selected VM application tools. If you are creating VM application, certain tools you can upload here. Next is tagging and billings. Next is review and create. In this review and create, if anything's mismatch, that will give you the notification or else give you the validation fast. Click on
Subscription credits apply 13.
13 rupees INR per hour. 1 hour it will check 13 rupees. Clear?
Hmm.
So this is how it works. Now if you are okay with this, go with this or else leave it.
Okay.
So I'm going to create the virtual machine. So it will take couple of times. Now Microsoft actually each day are developing their resources. When even I'm telling you when AZ103 there, then that time I did the mini classes. Even after creating the virtual machine, we're just sitting idle for next 15 minutes, 20 minutes like that. Now it's a matter of minutes and it's very soon it will create the virtual machines. So it is deploying
Next finish now. Next finish. Very user friendly.
Yeah, the entire cloud is just like a form fill up. That's it. It will not even if the fresher guy are habituated in cloud operations, they are basically their information about this technology is basically lamp. Okay, because they do not have created the server build that we did. We have did that servers from ISO Mountage. From there we are using the alternate.
They don't have idea about partitions also. Partitions, device manager, this.
Nothing they have. That do not have any knowledge about hard disk partitions, file systems. Nothing.
So we need to learn that bootstrap,
Yes.
that NTLDR, that all those stuffs. More days going, in-depth knowledge are missing. Now this app-based, everything is app-based. Now one click, one touch, single click. Infra basically they are going, customers are going less cost, and it's more app-based.
Yes.
That's why DevOps are in demand. DevOps.
But DevOps is basically those who are from application background.
Application, IT ops, DevOps, whatever name they are giving.
If you take training on AWS or Azure DevOps, you will not be able to understand the things because you do not have this you do not have this environment that you have worked because
we are from core infra
background. Yes. So then you have options: go to your resources or create another VM. So I am just sufficient.
Go to resources.
Go to resources. Now in this resources, your VM is created. Clear?
Agent setup.
VM is currently on the running state.
Running state.
Wow, is the start button is showing disabled state. So let's
VM1 virtual machine is not ready. Probably.
Even I'm telling you, for your information, just go to the resource groups. You will find out that RG Cole's application is there. In this RG Cole application, it's also holding the virtual machine IP, NSG. As I told, the virtual machine IP, all these pair that will hold in the resource groups.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Go to the virtual machines. You will have this virtual machine that was created. Click on this. Now let's go to connect. Click on connect, and there is options because RDP, SSH Bashon is a different OS. CentOS for these SSH Bashons, SSH for the Unix machine. So for Windows it's RDP. Click on download RDP files. Click on opens and directly connect. Okay. So here choose the another options different. So we'll put the root admin. I will take the direct RDP on the raw internets of the newly created virtual machines. Okay. Even if you do this MSTC 20.115.37.56, you can take the RDP from your system. Do it.
I can do from my system.
Yeah. Do the MSTSC.
MSTSC.
IP
20
20.115.37.56.
115.37.56. Let me connect.
We'll get
More choices. Go for more choices. Use a different account, root admin. Password?
password is Nissan 880 underscore 88.
NISSAN.
Okay, hold on. Let me type it. I'm just giving you.
Okay. Say dot web customer Nissan.
Yeah. Just a minute. What the password I've given? Oh my god. Nissan 990 I guess. Yeah. In caps Nissan 990 underscore 99.
Okay. NISSAN 99 underscore.
In caps Nissan 990 underscore 99.
Oh, it's a 99 underscore 9.
990 underscore 99.
Connecting. View certificate. Not required. Yes. I'm able to connect.
Yes. Because this server it's available on public network IP address. Clear?
Clear. Okay, public. We did a public one. Okay, got it.
Okay. So this is my practical for today demonstration.
Okay.
Next
So see, if I need to now see, I have created this one. Say I have to now. I need to log off or shut down this root admin.
sorry.
There's three options: na? Disconnect, shut down, and restart.
See, generally what happened if I want to after this, let's say the virtual machine was created and you are able to log in. So next what is needed? You have to delete the virtual machine, right? Nothing. Just do one thing. Do just nothing you need to do. Okay. So click on stop options. The virtual machine will be stopped, and very first you can able to delete this. Okay. So for next what you need to do, go to here in resource group. Just delete the resource group. Just delete RG code. Click on select. You will not have options to delete from there. Go to RG code. Then delete the resource. Even after you delete, just put the RG code name. Okay. Delete resource groups and put here RG code. Delete this. Even I'm telling you. Okay. Delete resource group. Already it started deleting. Now it is deleting. Okay. And go to the same network watcher RG. Why it is created, I'm telling you. I'll tell in the next classes. Same thing, we'll select it, delete resource groups, select it and delete.
So every time mandatory I have to delete.
Exactly. Even after delete going on and you just close that case, no, it will not work.
Okay.
Till the time you find them that my this is blank, do not trust. Okay. It can destroy your financial background, I'm telling you. It's very dangerous. This is a track actually. If you fall down this track, you will be finished. So I will wait till the resources completely removed from my systems. You no need to see if you do so many VMs, so many networks, so many storage profiles. So the benefit is only that if you delete the resource groups, very fast it will be clean all this part. You no need to worry about it. But you have to wait till the resource is completely deleted from your environment.
Okay.
That is why end-to-end information I provide, and that is why the course duration will take some time.
No, that is good for me. At least learning also it's very good.
Even see,
I'm able to understand. This session also very informative.
Because see, if you are not, let's say you are doing the, you are taking training on Azure 104, and after that you tell your manager that yes, I have done this training. Now something you have asked any question from your about Azure 104, you are not supposed
Yeah.
to say, then it is very embarrassing, right? So
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
that is why as much knowledge I know, I include my all to PPT, and even after the last day of your course, I will share the PPT to you. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, IBM Cloud is not so much user friendly. I have worked
That is why
compared to Azure is very user friendly.
because see, Azure, AWS, this is the top cloud in the world, top cloud.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Even after that, cloud comes into the picture. Then after Google Cloud, there is a many cloud like
Alibaba is there, Alibaba.
Alibaba, IBM Cloud, Red Hat Cloud, HP Cloud. Even Dell also have their own cloud.
Hmm.
VMware Cloud. Every company is now start investing on their products on cloud.
Cost implementation.
But it is all together. Topmost cloud is Microsoft.
Now the era of automation. So many things, teams they are removing by automation. Like those people are in this monitoring. Second is that this I'm working in a project. Legacy from science logic. It will like we had in Redon Isanna HPOVO. Here it is science logic, and Netcool is the integrator tool,
Okay.
and it comes to the service now.
Okay.
So whenever the alert generates in MCM multi-cloud managed system,
Okay.
they will analyze by the automation tool, and then Netcool triggers as an incident, and then it will go to the service now. So fully automated.
Our infrastructure was so many things was there. Huh?
Hmm.
But the
That is manual work. No? That is that they are not expending on their infra. But if you work in bank or trading, na, my last account was State Street. That's that trading. It's very, very, it is danger means finance. If one time downtime, you have lost $1 billion bidding
exactly.
rates
Yeah.
because that they are directly trading in with JP Morgan, Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Too many things there around applications, too many things upstream, downstream, a lot of things, and all over the world. Their server, I think, 1 point something lakh VMs only
Oh my God.
because it's all over trade now.
Mm.
Three regions: Australia, APAC, EMEA, and then US. That is the one of the best and dangerous client I work. See, they abandoned Unix entire Unix team for one major incident. They lost something $12 billion
This is
transaction.
dangerous.
Just dropped the entire team.
But actually, in our team, there is a huge lobby baji was there. Huge
That's different. But at least I'm talking about work. I'm not talking about that
Yeah,
culture.
exactly.
That is a different
Yeah,
issue.
so the resource group is clear now. You see that
Yeah, yeah,
even
that
work
is clear.
solution also gone. Okay. So you have to make sure that none of the existing is there before you leaving. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Resource
See,
group-
everyone knows why I took transfer to Bangalore. That is the reason you told, na?
Exactly.
KTC.
Exactly.
My God.
Now you're still in Bangalore IBM, right?
I will stay here or there only. Bangalore is good, man. No lobby baji.
Very good. Okay, fine. So no problem. Let's save that files.